the Hidden Truth. I hope you learned something from last week's episode, and this week's episode is just as exciting. Today, we have joining us Denis. Hello, Denis. How are you doing today?
Hello. And how are you?
I'm doing great because I'm seeing you.
Oh, that's nice.
So what are you doing here today? Like, what do you have to share with us?
Oh, okay. I'm here today to share my experience concerning the whole law-breaking thing of we students going to like do illegal working and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
Okay. Do you mind sharing your story with us then?
Okay. It's a long story, but I'm gonna cut it a little bit short. It was back in I think winter 2018 when I was working with some friends of mine. We're like 3 boys, 2 girls. 2 girls from medical school, 3 guys from Dashware. So during this period, we were contracted to work by a Chinese friend of ours.
And where?
It was actually in a restaurant. It was, trust me, it was nice. I mean, a lot of food, you know.
But you were working in a restaurant, but what were you doing in the restaurant?
Okay, for the boys, I'm literally gonna call the boys the kitchen boys.
Okay.
Because literally what we're doing, we're back. I'll call it backstage. We're literally doing all the cutting stuff and all that. Then for the girls, they were literally just in front after the people eat and all that. Yeah, they were serving and
like
cleaning.
waitresses.
Yeah. So that's what was going on.
What kind of restaurant was it?
It was a hot pot.
Oh, okay.
Like a beef hot pot restaurant.
Okay.
At that time. I don't know if they're still there though. So like literally, okay, they were like, when we started the job, I told, because one of the guys or the people that were around me then, I think I was one of the seniors then, because I was in my second year, first semester. So yeah, I told the young guys that were there with me, and I was like, oh, because you know this thing where students, they get excited because they've started hearing Chinese and all that, speaking a little bit of Chinese and all. So I told them, okay, you know we're not working properly, like
it's not
legal.
exactly legal.
Yeah, legal, yeah. So it's not every Chinese that comes to you or asks you a question using Chinese you have to answer. And I keep telling them that all the time because most Chinese just want to get you questions from you and you don't know who these people are.
Don't be so excited that you give the wrong information to the wrong person.
Thank you. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit short at that point. So this day that this happened was 2 days to payment day, EP salaries, and everybody was like, oh, it's gonna be 2 days.
How much were they going to pay you?
Okay, at that time it was like 4,000, and you know, it was okay because students, you know, you just want to make a little bit of money to
support yourself.
to ease back home people like your parents and all that. So yeah, that was what happened, and on that fateful day, because during the lunch break, let me just put this in. During the lunch break, when we have a lunch break, we literally just sit around and all. But for me, what I do is I wear my jacket because it was winter. Then I go to the nearby mall and I just sit there and just feel relaxed because I don't want it to be like, okay, we're actually working in that same restaurant and all that. So that day, that fateful day, I'll call it fateful day. So the immigration officer came in a mufti, you know, and he was literally asking questions. And one of the younger guys that I told not to literally speak Chinese and answer anybody was just answering, and he was so excited. So they were like, oh, you're working here? He said, yes. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from so country. I don't mention the country, you know. I'm from so country and all that, blah, blah, blah. And he gave out all our information, not knowing who the person was. So it was more of like the guy got all the information and had to wait because I think the Chinese, they respect the food, the lunchtime a lot. So he had to wait for the lunchtime to be over. And boom, everybody started working all over again. We were inside cutting and these people just came in like 2 to 3 fans and it was like, we were robbers, you know.
So many vans, but just working illegally.
So when that happened, they came in and they met the girls first because they never knew the boys were inside the kitchen.
The girls were in the front waitress saying.
Thank you. So when they did that, they literally just held one of the girls and they're like, oh, you know what? What's your name? She said her name. Like, do you have a working permit? Can I see your passport? So with the shock and the fear, because she could see the police uniform on this guy, and then she said, oh, I don't have a passport.
Oh, okay.
it was, I wouldn't blame her because...
Of course, she was nervous,
yeah,
stressful.
So she said that, and when she said that, the police officer was trying to talk to the manager, then she ran.
Where did she run to?
Where the boys were.
Okay, so she didn't run out of the building?
No.
Okay.
Literally, I am the only person that this person talks to.
Oh.
So she literally ran and came to where I was standing and stood behind my back like I was supposed to fight for her. And I'm like, what? Before I could literally say, what's wrong? Why are you? The police officer just came in. I was like, oh,
there's more of you.
There are more of you here. I thought you should just come outside. Then I was like, oh, damn it. Because literally, okay, my jacket was just here. The back door was here. So if I got the information early, I would have got to my jacket and I would have walked away. And you can't just see me on the road and stop me and say, what? Yeah. So we went outside. Then one thing that really pissed me off was literally the fact that they were asking us a lot of questions, but the manager of the restaurant did not give us an opportunity to answer. He never did. He was just answering everything back to back.
But did you know what he was saying at the time?
Yes, I did understand what he was saying at that.
But was the information accurate?
The information was literally, I won't lie to you, it was literally accurate. But at the same time, we had our own backup plan at that point, I'll put it that way. So he was just, you guys, are they working here? I was like, yeah, we paid them. Oh, we're supposed to pay them 2 days. And like 2 days after, how much you paid him? He stated. How long have they been working here? He stated. And I got pissed. But at that point, I don't want to react and cause more damage to the damage that's already been done. So I kept quiet. Then the next thing he was like, oh, you know what? Where are your passports? Do you guys have working visas and all? Then that's when everybody started freaking out.
Of course.
Then I don't know why in that group of people when we went to work, they now literally put me as the number one person.
Unofficial leader.
I had to start speaking up for everybody. So I spoke and I was like, oh no, students and all that. Then they're like, which school? Or international? And they're like, oh okay. They're like, you know what, you guys are working illegal, you have to follow us to the station. Okay, that's when it dawned on everybody that, oh shit, Then why that was going on 2 extra vans game, making it 5 for just 5 people.
Were you then one in a van?
No, we were like 3 in one car, 2 in the other car, and they were escorting us like we just robbed the bank. But it was a crazy experience, trust me. Then we went to the police station, and the next thing, before we got there, they've already printed everything the manager said. And they're like, are any of these things lies? At that point, you can't even say anything because you yourself know you've done wrong. So we said, no, it's not a lie and all that. But the crazy part about the whole thing was now we have to sign documents. There's a difference of you signing documents with a pen, but this we had to sign with our blood and DNA.
Wow.
Because they had to poke your hand with a needle or something, then the blood comes and just stays on the pan, and you had to every single document and all that. Then after that, the most funny part, the picture of you being a criminal, the official picture.
The pictures you see on TV and you're standing like this.
You stand and side and all that. Took that and all, and after that, we were thrown into cell, like the jail. And the put the 2 girls on one side and put 3 guys on one side. And the most annoying thing happened because they had to actually bring in that drunk Chinese guy, and the guy was just farting all around. So it was already annoying in the first place. We got so annoyed to the point where we were shaking the
bars of the cell.
And like, who speaks English in the station? Because we just wanted to really express ourselves, because we never given that opportunity to express ourselves. And I just kept quiet. I was sitting at the back because I know if they already don't know me, like, oh shit, it has happened. So they came back and they were like, oh, where are your passports? We're like, our passports are back home. And they're like, can any of you call a teacher or something? Now, for the guys in our school, which is 3 of us, nobody has a teacher number apart from me. That's why I said they put me as the head, the leader. Then I had to speak out. Then at that time, Mr. Chen and Maggie was around. So, and I called Maggie. Maggie was like, "Oh, I traveled because it was a holiday."
It was a holiday.
Yeah, the Chinese winter holiday, so they always travel. I'm not around and all, and I was like, "Okay, so who's Mr. Johnson?" She said, "Mr. Chen," and she gave me Mr. Chen's number. Then I called Mr. Chen, and luckily, Mr. Chen was just, I could literally say around the corner because like he came pretty fast.
But how did he react? Was he angry?
Okay, there's something I'm gonna say that I've always respected Mr. Chen for. I don't know, maybe he knows how to hide his anger, but he wasn't angry. He was just like
calm and collected.
Yeah, he was just calm. He was like, "Why would you guys get yourself involved in this and all that and all that?" So he was just calm. He was really helpful at that point. So they took him in. They spoke to him. Then they brought him back. Then the next thing is that bringing us out from the jail one by one, and it was like more of an interrogation section.
Oh.
They were asking a lot of questions. Who gave you the job? And at that point, you can't even lie because, trust me, you don't have to go that alone. because it was actually a Chinese that knows about the law that gave you the job.
Mm-hmm.
So we just literally had to say the person's name, who the person is, where the person is, and all. And jotted that down. So it was really crazy though. But then we had to call our friends to bring our passport because at that time they said, "You know what? We are only going to release you guys when your passport comes." And this whole thing happened way back. Like at that time, there were not much people around. A lot of people went back home for the holiday.
Because it was winter.
Yeah, so that happened. So we had to call people that have girlfriends, had to call their girlfriends, people that have friends that run, have to call their friends that they can trust to actually bring their passports.
So you had these people going to your rooms, your apartments, but how did they get the keys to get into your place?
Okay, for me at that time, the person that brought my passport had my spare key.
Okay. Yeah. So it was someone that you trusted?
Yeah, it was someone I trusted at that point. And the funny thing with the person came and started laughing. But anyway, it's a great experience. Yeah, so then that happened, and we gave them our passport eventually, and they told us it happened when this whole thing happened. It happened like 3 o'clock, but we stayed went to the police station at 5. We stayed there for a long time, trust me.
Okay, so how long did you spend in prison, and what happened after you left?
Okay, for the time we spent in prison, I would literally say it's confidential because it's not everybody that want to say the experience about that.
Okay.
But I could literally just state one thing. The little time we spent there, we got hungry, and what we were offered was this little bread and water.
Wow.
And
that's awful.
Trust me, it was. And we just had to take it because I'm hungry.
There's nothing else.
So we took that, and we eventually gave them our passports, and then they let us go.
Were you fined or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were. Before they let us go, we were fined. They were like, "Oh, for this thing you've caused, you've committed a crime. So each of you have to pay a fine of 5,000.
5,000 yuan. Yeah. That's a lot.
Trust me.
It seems like this story has a long way to go, and you have a lot more to share with us.
Of course.
So for now, we'll wrap this up, and we'll come again next week. So thank you for joining us this week, and join us again next week where we'll continue with Denis's story. Thank you and good evening.